I hope you do some cool green screen in the back there, like meteors and like flaming
I,
flaming lava pits.
I mean, all I can do is just change the color.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watch Your Pass. And today I'm joined by Christian Sesma, the co-writer and director of every last one of them, which is coming to digital and on demand on October 22nd, 2021. We're going to talk to him in just a second, but first let's check out the trailer. And while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. It helps me out a lot. Thank you.
This world is an unforgiving place. And that's why they send men like you out there.
I gotta find out what happened to my daughter.
Melissa is a good girl. I know where she is.
So what's your deal? Why don't you get out of here?
With my daughter.
You are one ballsy guy, aren't you?
It's not gonna stop until you're dead.
That guy deserves a bullet in his head.
How is that working out for us?
Well, awesome. So thanks so much for joining me. This is Christian Sesma, the co-writer and director of Every Last One of Us, which comes to digital and on demand on October 22nd, 2021. So I usually start, especially when I've got like a co-writer here, with what was the inspiration for this story. I'm hesitant here because I don't know what terrible trauma inspired this story, but I guess what was the inspiration for this story?
Well, the story was that when I got the script, it was a very different iteration of what we saw. It was a different title. The action beats and things like that, characters and all that stuff were very similar, but I felt that there was something more to mine and really flesh out with the characters and the family dynamic, right? So I felt that, really, I'm a giant Taylor Sheridan fan, love Wind River, those kind of movies. I was like, I'd love to just try to elevate this standard, what would have been a standard shoot 'em up, with no kind of like real drama like that, like what it is now, and really explore those characters with Dreyfuss and stuff. So I really try to set out to make, a story about a failed father, that has to deal with this. And it's almost like, it's like a mix of like Hurt Locker and failed parenthood in a way. So that was really the gigantic shifts there with the story.
Oh, that's interesting, because I noticed that there were 4 writers here, and I was curious, like, how, with that many writers, like
it got to me with all the script got to me. It has like 1,000 writers on it. I was like, that's cool. And I'm like, I want to do this, and I'm really excited to do it. With my producing partner, Mike Hatton, I brought it over, and it was from the sales company 101 Films. They were great, and they were basically gave me free reign. They're like, look, you can take the script and rework it and do what you want with it. And I said, great. I want to put Paul Sloan as the lead character and really start shifting up some things to make it more interesting. So here we are.
I love that they gave you free reign. I'm curious, like, did you just like riff with them, be like, I really think it'd be a good romantic comedy, maybe we'll get to, because I have to tell you,
look, I kind of like, I was very much in the vein of like, look, man, if we're killing people, then everything else, like it should be just, we got to be really brutal with it on all aspects of it, like on the drama, on this, let's really just go for it and try to make it memorable. So we're just not like clicking through or just streaming and we're like, all right, cool. Guns went off, people got killed, then we're done.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so yeah. I'll have to tell you, when I got the email, they had the trailer link, and the trailer had this little screenshot that popped up, and it was like, I think one of the more tender scenes, because 2 people left, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. I was like, oh, this is very different from what I kind of expected, given that.
Right, and so that's what's interesting. So when they made the trailer, I was like, it's not really my movie, but it is my movie. I'm like, I just felt like you could really have leaned into the drama of it, which is really a lot. Like I feel like it's a lot. And so I was like, okay. And then, the Saban and Paramount, they were like, look, trust me, it'll hook them. And then they'll be like surprised, like, oh, there's a story here and there's things happening. I'm like, okay, I'll buy it. So.
Well, they call it the rope-a-dope, right? You just kind of get them in.
Yes,
and then, boom.
The old rope-a-dope.
So it sounds like when you got the film, it kind of sounds like you had the infrastructure in place to get this made. Did you have to go and sell this new script that you tweaked to get it made, or were they
No. We were already going. The ship had already gone out to sea when the revisions started coming in. And they were, again, 101. It was great. They were like, great. Just hit these action beats. Here's we're approving these actors. Just make sure you come back with something as great or better than your last one. It's like, great. So
that's a good standard, right? Just always be improving.
Great, yeah.
Speaking of the actors, I really liked Paul Sloan. I thought he did a really nice job and kind of a good. He had the perfect look for a kind of like haggard but competent lead character. I think you'd worked with him before, but how did you get him on board, and then how did you get some of the other cast? Because the cast was an interesting mix of actors, some new, some accomplished. So
yeah, I was like this, Paul, what up, dude? What are you doing in December?
What? Nothing, because nothing's going on right now. Okay, great.
Right. So look, I mean, Paul has become. I mean, he's been one of my best friends since the last decade. So we're like boys. And so when it's great, when we get to work together, when something fits, I was like, dude, I think this is good. He was like, okay, this is really cool. And I'm like, I'm telling you, and I go, this is something that I think we could really show your acting chops, dude. And I really like really tender moments of drama. And, I thought he killed it. I thought he did a great job. And, Jake and Taryn, and then of course Dreyfuss. I mean, I thought it was a really well-rounded team.
Definitely. And I think I saw like one person in a mask. Was this filmed during kind of like, lockdown or that
the second lockdown of COVID?
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was in December of 2020. Yeah, it was not an easy time to shoot, but that's why we shot it in my backyard here in the Coachella Valley in the Palm Springs area. That's why we made it. We found, there's like small little desert towns in a way out east by Salton Sea, which we shot at. That kind of helped us make this kind of dusty Western type vibe,
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to find some space, Palm Springs is a good place to find some social distancing.
It's home.
Yeah. And one thing I was wondering, so did you take this on knowing that lockdown was happening, or did that kind of come at you?
No, we knew it was going to go down, and we just luckily, again, back to 101 and the producers testament, they really just were like, let's just keep pushing forward. And nice. I knew that the county and the city and the hotel and the casino, like the people that were hosting us, it wasn't going to affect them because it was on tribal land. So there was a lot of things that we were able to get done without the red tape of something that was happening on a bigger state level. Because there were at that time it was it was counties, right? Like county was all red, these are all purple. So we were always monitoring which one was going to be shut down and what it wasn't. And so we shifted, but we were still very much locked down.
That is so interesting. I never thought of like.
Yeah, so all the background, all the extras are all crew members, we were just recycling people, like that cop, is this person in the back here, is this person running, it was all the same people. So because we couldn't bring in any outsiders to the set.
Oh, wow. So it's like a Simpsons episode where you've got like person with a mustache and then person with a cowboy hat and then person with a mustache hat.
Right. Yeah. We couldn't, there was no way around it. I didn't want to make a COVID movie. I didn't want to make just one person in the room. I was like, if I'm going to have an opportunity to make another movie, I still want it to feel like a film. Yeah, definitely. And I know I've talked to a lot of directors that filmed during COVID, and the kind of the resounding thing was it was hard, but it also was great to kind of get back to normal and be working with people and interacting. So yeah, for sure. And I think that's really fascinating that like the tribal land aspect, where like maybe the rules there were a little different from the rules in the state. That's such an interesting point. I never kind of thought that would work out that way. It's because the casinos were open. So the casinos were open. So the casinos and resorts out here are amazing. They're like Vegas, right? Yeah. So they were very safe, very clean, and very thorough, but they never closed during the lockdown. They stayed open the whole time. So we were able to put all our cast and crew in a very quarantine bubble wing. We would just take them to and from, and it was great. That's awesome. And then, so what was it like editing also during lockdown? Was this the first one you edited? It's interesting because when I was in post-production on another movie called Pay Dirt. It's this little thing we did, but
Val Kilmer movie. I like that one.
right. So the COVID hit right during post. So we had learned how to do everything remote on that movie, even sound mix. It was pretty crazy. So same thing happened with Take Back, and then same thing with this. I mean, it's basically like you work remote editing, and then you go meet up for the last week of the final director's cut type of thing, where we kind of tweak the last little bits and we make sure it's all down there.
Got it. That sounds like a pretty good process, you know, kind of given the circumstances.
Yeah, for sure.
But one thing I also really liked is maybe this might just be how I watched it, but I couldn't really tell if Jake, you know, Paul's character, was a good guy or a bad guy, because I think he has good intentions, but he goes to some dark places. Is that kind of the intent behind this film?
100%.
Okay, perfect.
Because in my mind, people are like, well, we don't know who really is the bad guy in this movie. And
exactly.
Great, which is great, because that's how it is a lot of times, right? But
yeah,
in my mind, the way I wrote it and the way I shot it, I always felt that this whole thing is his fault. And that's what he's dealing with, because I think he knows.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think all the guilt if he would have been a better father, a better whatever, we would never have gone down this rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's a good point. And
that's how I felt.
And he's just trying to do everything he can to kind of overcome
make
that.
up for it. Right. And he just messes up at every turn, and it has dire consequences.
Yeah. Another thing that stood out is this film had a helicopter scene, which is kind of, I don't know, I feel like that's a little unique in most indie films. I usually don't see indie films that have helicopters. So like, how did you arrange that? Is this someone that you'd worked with before, or did you
just kind of a local guy. I mean, it's funny because we just filmed the helicopter scene last night, so out here again, which was crazy. So same kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, we had so for sure. And Dreyfuss was like, "I want to go up in it. Let's go." I'm like, "Okay." So it was great.
How many people can you fit? Because that looked like a small helicopter, but
it was a small helicopter. It was just my DP and Dreyfuss.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And then I also love the scene, and I think it's a palm orchard. Whatever it was really impressive. Is that
they're like
someplace?
Right, there's miles and miles of date groves out here. It's a giant. Agriculture's huge out here. I mean, that's I mean, we provide, the Coachella Valley provides like a giant portion of the produce and things like that for the country. And so when the script was originally written for like the woods, and that's how he kind of goes off and hides, because again, it was a very much like First Blood ripoff, the original script. I mean, like almost to the T. I was like, well, I think I have some places out here that there's an estate, and then he could just dart off into these groves that from the air you go, holy crap, it just goes on forever, which it does. Yeah.
And I didn't go back and check Pay Dirt, but that looks similar to a scene in Pay Dirt. Was that the same? Okay.
Yeah. Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that aesthetic. So yeah, keep using it.
It looks gorgeous. And it's so nobody's never, it's very unique. So
it is. It's
I might have been done with it now. I think I've just used all my date palm tree cards up, but yeah.
Too many dates at the date field.
Too many dates, man.
Awesome. So I know we have limited time, so I'd like to switch. I call it lightning round. Just they're lightweight questions, kind of about the film. It's tough to do lightweight questions with this subject matter, but I did my best. You can feel free not to answer any of them. I
love it. Let's go.
Okay. What is the hardest thing you've ever had to look for? Or maybe the hardest you've looked for something?
Like physically look for something, or like spiritually look for something?
That's up to interpretation, however you want to.
I think the hardest thing I've had to look for is myself and who I am.
There we go. What about physically? What's something that you've lost that took a long time to find, or
130 pounds.
Oh, 130, like physical pounds, not
physical
pounds.
Loss.
That's
the hardest thing I've looked.
And you are not looking for that.
Like the loss of my mother, for sure.
That's true. And I imagine you're probably not trying to get those 130 pounds back. You're happy that they're lost.
Yeah, we've been maintaining. It's been good.
That is awesome. That is very impressive. What is the largest weapon that you fired?
Oh gosh, probably just M16, full auto M16.
Oh, nice.
That was right? Full auto M16. Yeah, a full auto M16 in Louisiana.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Maybe this is related. Have you ever been in a bar fight?
Never in a bar fight.
Okay. Have you ever used a drone to look for something?
No.
Okay. And the last question is, have you ever flown a helicopter?
No, man, I had the opportunity to go up in it last night or whatever. And we were debating. I'm like, damn, do I go up in it? And the guy's like, let's go up in it, man. Let's just go take a round. I'm like, oof, I don't know. I was so scared. I was like, helicopters freak me out.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of helicopter seats now.
Yeah, well, and with Kobe, like what was it,
know,
a year
I
ago,
know.
you just never know.
I know.
But I would have probably got up. That's a pretty cool experience. So.
No, the camera guys are like, I want to go. And I'm like, yeah, you guys go. We're fine.
Perfect. So you are still working. You're working all through COVID. So the film comes out October 22nd. You're promoting it now. What's after this? What else do you have in the hopper? I imagine you have a few projects. So
yeah, I just shot another movie with Dreyfuss in September called Abandonment. It's like a cave thriller type thing. He's a 911 operator. He has to help this lady kind of survive the night with like all this crazy bear attacks and stuff.
Oh, nice.
And then we just wrapped kind of this really our biggest movie to date, which is called Section 8. It's a giant, big Mission Impossible action movie. With a lot of amazing names and actors, and we were able to shoot it again out here, which is pretty crazy. So we did some really amazing stuff. So that gets announced this week, and then we take off on Friday to do another thriller.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's good, man.
Working. Yeah,
keeping it working.
You're the king of that. You're the king of that area. That's awesome.
We try.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. And the film is Every Last One of Them, which comes out on October 22nd, 2021. Thank you so much.
Thanks, David.
That was Christian Sesma, the co-writer and director of Every Last One of Us, which is coming to digital and on demand on October 22nd, 2021. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. And make sure to check out the other movie reviews, interviews, unboxing videos, and weekend recommendations. Thanks so much.